You're listening to the NorthField Podcast with Caleb Gordon with stories and perspectives on today's topics that impact culture from a biblical worldview. To find out more on Caleb, go to www.calebgordon.com. Once again, that's www.calebgordon.com. I'm really excited you guys are here with me tonight. Man, I wanted to just talk about something that, man, it's just gripping our culture. It's gripping our world. It's gripping everything and anything around us. And it's the topic and the idea of fear. Fear, guys, it is crippling some people, like to the point where they are not able to do certain things in their daily lives. Fear is crippling us, guys. And it's to the point where it's actually doing a lot of damage. And I got to thinking about this whole idea of fear, and I wanted to just share a story with you guys about something that happened to us not too long ago. My son Noah, he had an obsession. Like, the word obsession is probably not big enough, not good enough to talk about what Noah did for this TV show. He loved this television show called The Fish Tank Kings. And he just, I mean, if you've never watched it, you can Google it and probably find it on YouTube. But I'm telling you, it was a show about these guys that went in and made exotic fish tanks. And as a result of this, Noah became obsessed with fish. Like, loved fish tanks. Loved everything about him because of this television show. And he had this one guy that he really liked on the television show. His name was Krusty. And his real name's Philip. But Krusty was on the television show, and he played sort of kind of the funny, cut up class clown type guy that just, I mean, he just was funny, had a good personality. And so I got to thinking one day, I said, what would it take to have Noah talk to Krusty? What would it be if we could just get them on the phone together? So I Googled the company, and I called the company and got the phone number, called the company. The receptionist answered and said, "Hey, my name's Caleb Gordon. I live in Oklahoma. I've got my son here. We are just big Fish Tank King fans. He'd love to be able to talk to Krusty." And the receptionist said, "Man, there's no way we could do that right now. Krusty's on a job. He's super busy. There's no way he could talk." And I said, "I completely understand." And I thought that was going to be the end of it. But he didn't stop there. He said, "If you'll call back on Friday, he could talk then." So I was like, sweet. So I set a reminder on my phone. And we called back Friday, and they put us on hold, and we were on hold for a couple minutes, and Noah, like, is just anticipating this thing, just out of his mind, crazy. In fact, he buries his head in my shoulders because he's so excited over this thing. In fact, there's a video somewhere on my Facebook page that has this experience, and so he's got his head buried in my shoulder, waiting on hold there, and Krusty answers. He picks up the phone. He's like, "Hi, this is Krusty." And Noah completely loses it. He's like, "Ah." And when I was like, "Hi, Krusty, my name's Caleb Gordon, and I'm from Oklahoma, and my son Noah is a big fan, and he just wanted to be able to talk to you." And he was so gracious. Krusty was so gracious. He talked to Noah and just answered questions and asked him some questions and just had a great personality on the phone. And it was just an incredible experience. So we got done, and we found each other on Facebook, and so we friended each other on Facebook. And then as a result of this, I mean, he followed some of the stuff that I did. I followed some of the stuff he did. And we messaged one another back and forth on Facebook, just talking to one another. Found out that he's a believer. He loves Jesus, has a heart for the gospel, loves Jesus. And so we talked about those different things. And one day I get a message from him on Facebook, and he says, "Hey, Caleb, I'm going to be in Oklahoma. I'm picking some stuff up, and I'm going to be pretty close to where you live. What do you think about meeting for dinner and surprising Noah?" I was like, "Oh my goodness, this would be insane. I love it." So we set it up, and we went to Red Robin. That's yum. So it was incredible. And we didn't tell Noah. So we're sitting there, just my wife, myself, and Noah. And we're sitting in the restaurant, and in walks Krusty, and he comes around the corner, and Noah doesn't realize it at first. And I said, "Hey, Noah, do you know that guy?" And he popped his head up, and he realized it was Krusty. He goes, "Oh my gosh, it's Krusty!" And like completely lost it. And Krusty sat down, had a couple of gifts for him. and we had dinner, and man, we got to talking, and there are so many amazing things that this guy does. He does incredible things for the cause of the gospel and furthering the gospel, and helps kids. He does things that help kids, and his family does all these different things that help kids, and it was so incredible to get to meet this guy. And I got to thinking about this, man, what would have happened had I had that idea pop up in my head, but I thought, and I just didn't step out of my comfort zone. I said, man, I'm not going to call them. What if I call and they think I'm crazy? Or what if they don't answer my phone calls? Or what if they just write me off? Or what if I kept having that fear in the back of my head thinking, oh, I'm not going to get anywhere with this? I wouldn't have gotten to the point where I got to meet an amazing man who loves Jesus, and we had some common ground there, and I wouldn't have got to make my son's day. Like, my son's life has been actually bettered, I'm not sure if that's a word, but it's been made better because of getting to know this guy. And Noah and we still text one another back and forth, and we'll talk to each other on the phone every once in a while. In fact, he called me on Christmas, and we had just a little conversation. And Noah he's always like, hey, tell Christy I said hi, and so we'll text back and forth. But what if I had been afraid, like so many of us are? What if I'd been petrified by fear? Said, you know what, I don't know. Man, I wouldn't have been able to actually step into a spot and have so many amazing things happen because of meeting a specific person. Joshua chapter 1 verse 9 says this: have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened, and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Guys, I'm telling you, God has got you and I on a specific journey. And maybe our journeys are different. But man, so many times we cut our journey short because of this thing called fear. We're afraid of what might happen or what might not happen. And so we surround ourselves in this comfortable bubble here, and especially here in America, we surround ourselves in this comfortable bubble, and we say there's no way that I'm going to do anything that's going to cause me any potential insanity or potential harm. And so we put all these things around us, not knowing what might happen. So we make an educated guess on something that may or may not happen, and so we just say, I'm not going to do it. Man, I'm telling you, the Bible has called us here, commanded us, not just called us, but commanded us. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Don't be frightened. So don't worry about what's going to happen. Don't be afraid of where you're going to go, because God may have something that is just going to absolutely blow the doors off your house. And you're going to just have so many things happen potentially. I'm not going to be one of those guys that says, you type amen and you're going to get $1 million. I'm just saying that God has called you not to be afraid. You don't need to be afraid, because guess what? God is with you wherever you go. And as a result of God being with you, Romans chapter 8, if God's for us, who can be against us? Don't be afraid of what's happening today. Step out in faith. Step out in faith and see where God takes us. See where God takes you specifically in today's journey. Like, open your Bible and say, God, I want some truth. Please show me what you want. And he'll give you truth, guys. He will. Honest to goodness, he'll give you some truth that's going to really, honest to goodness, rock your world. So I'm challenging you. I'm encouraging you today. Don't be afraid. Step out in faith, and you never know. You may end up having dinner with a reality television show star. You never know. Or guess what? You might be feeding somebody in a homeless shelter, or you might be helping somebody across the street. You never know where God's going to take you. And as a result of that, he's going to take care of you, and he's going to bless you. All right. I love you guys. Thanks for listening. Let's go get them today.